Welcome to the live stream on how to optimize rate tables and markup percentages for projects in Sage Intacct. So we're going to go over the purpose of these, the purpose of the rate tables and the markups, how to set them up dependent on different things on your projects, how to make sure you have all your billable settings correct in various areas, and how to generate invoices that use these rate or markup tables. So first, the purpose of rate tables and markup percentage tables are to automatically mark up your labor, material, subcontracts. Really, there's various different things you can choose from, but if you want to mark those up in a systematic manner based on hours on a job, for example, or all of my material gets marked up 5%, if you're contracting that with your owners of your projects. So there's different things you can do, and different granularity you can use, such as, you can go down to the employee level. You can go to the type of employee. You can go into your various categories of costs and say, I want all my other costs to be passed through at 0% or just pass through at cost, but I want materials and subcontracts to be marked up. And so we'll go through all of that, but the purpose of it is to just help automate some of that markup when you bill the owner, mainly on time and material billings, is what we'll be covering on that. Okay, so the first few things that you want to check relate to some settings in your job. So we're first going to go over to the job setup and show you when you're setting up a job, a time and material job, just some different things that we're going to double check is check marked. Okay, so I'm at the Timberline General Construction entity level, and I'm going to go to the projects in the project screen here. Okay, so we're going to use this sample job right here. Okay, and first thing that is required on the additional info area, you want to come down here and check that you have time and material and your billable check marks here are checked. Now, when I say required, what this does is it just helps default your expenses at this level, or default your expenses to be billable. So required doesn't mean it doesn't work if you don't have them checked. It just makes it easier. For time and material projects, and really most projects, you're just going to want to check these boxes. Okay. On the project tab here, this is just a type, but I wanted to point this out because you might have noticed that there is a type called T&M projects. This isn't required to be filled that way. If this is a time and material project and it's a commercial one, you could definitely put that there. This is just a tag, an informational field. Okay, so really the one you want to focus on is, like I said, on this additional information tab over here. Okay. Now, let's say you have a guaranteed price on this project that you don't want to exceed and go over. You would put that in here in this field for a time and material type of job. So let's say it's 100,000. You just fill that in right there. Okay. Now, when you go to process the invoice options are going to tell you what will happen if you do go over. Is it going to prevent? Do you want to prevent it from happening at all? Do you want to get a warning message, or do you want to do nothing if it exceeds that amount? Okay, so that's what this would also need to be turned on if you want to kind of have it help you, warn you, or prevent you from when you go over. Okay. Okay, so let's navigate over to the projects contracts area right down here. And on this project, we're going to open that up, project contract. So first you're going to just generally, you're going to, link your project. But you want to make sure that you're, you probably want to pick T&M here just as the correct tag, not required, but I would definitely pick billable here. And you can come down here, and what you want to do for a time and material type job that's using rate tables, which I'll show next, you want to add just a total line here. Okay. So basically to do that, you just hit add and you fill out this just like this. Okay. So I'm not going to go through all that, but just add a one total line here to get it to so that we can bill on it appropriately with using rate tables. Okay. You don't have to fill in a price, just FYI. Okay. So let's go over to rate tables. And we are going to be looking at this job rate billing project contract rate table that's being used on that project. Okay. So we're going to edit this. I'm going to show you the rate table here. Let me shrink these down for a second. Okay, so you'll see there's different sections in rate tables. Let me get these all shrunk down. The first one here is payroll or timesheet entries that come in from either your recording timesheets, or it's going to come in from when you do if you are using the separate payroll module. Okay, so that's what there's where labor rates would go. So purchasing would be if you're using purchase orders or the purchasing area in here to create purchase orders or commitments, subcontracts. Okay, and then AP bills rates on those, your general ledger rates, credit card, and employee expenses. So let's say you had material come in and it came in on a credit card. If you don't set up the material accumulation type here, and it's a credit card type, for example, of entry, then it will not flow through with the markup. Okay, even though you might have material set up here in accounts payable, right here, for example, if you don't do it based on the entry type that you have right here, then it will not flow through. Okay, so just a tidbit there. So when we let's look at labor. So when you look at labor here, for example, on this rate table, we picked a standard cost type of the labor category. Okay. Now you can see the different options that are available, but you can go to, let's say you have labor burden, fringe, maybe some overtime labor. You're segregating out your cost types pretty detailed, but let's say you just I don't care. I want anything with labor. I want to use accumulation type instead. So So this is more granular. This is a little more summarized of your cost types. Okay. So I point that out because sometimes that gets confused, but that's the difference there. So if you can also do it based on employee position. So if I want all my carpenters to be marked up at a certain rate for my labor, then you could pick employee positions here. Again, dependent on that setup on the employee area setup. Okay, so you can customize this obviously. Trade would again be something else you could go off of. Okay. You can see the other ones here. You can go granular down to the employee level. So if you want a specific project manager to be billed out at a specific rate, but everybody else is, $100 an hour, let's say, then you can actually just pick a person and tell them that's what you would like for that rate. Okay, so keep in mind that this is at rate table level. So this is kind of like a commonly used rate table. So you might have one you set up for a specific customer that you always bill out at a certain rate for, or a state. Maybe you do billable rates by state for some reason. Okay, so this is what can be used over and over again on multiple jobs. You can make as many of these up as you want. Okay, so I'm going to delete this line out. Okay. So as an example, I've put in some information here. So a bill that I've generated against the contract that I was showing you, I use the development cost type or accumulation type. So I use DEVB for the code on the bill, which is an accumulation type of development, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, so you notice it's a 10% markup. Okay. So we'll leave that tab up and duplicate so you can see the bill, and we can toggle back and forth. Okay, so let's go over to the bill. Okay, and we are going to look at the $5,000 Ford Metals bill here. Okay, so you can see, if I scroll down a little bit here, the project that I was using, the DEV cost type, which rolls up to development on the rate table. So right here, it rolls up to this accumulation type. Okay, this is an AP bill, and there's the coding. Okay, notice the checked marked billable box. Okay, so let's duplicate again, just in case we need to look at it. Okay, so now let's go over and look at the contract again, just as a refresher. So here's the contract we're using. Okay, contract. So we want to look at the contract line that I set up, the total here. Okay, so if we look at this, when I set this up, again, make sure your check marks are billable. So I'm going to hit on that, say that a lot, but you're going to make sure that says billable there. Right here is where you want to say time and material. You want to say your rate table. Okay. Now I did not put the rate table on all of these. So if I want to use this rate table on every single one of these types of entries, I certainly can by just putting that default rate table in. So that does work instead of having to fill out all of these boxes. Okay. It's not terrible even to do that, but it's very, very easy to do it there. Okay, so you could change this to no maximum specified amount or total revised price. Okay, there's different options there on this one total line. Okay, so when I set this up, I created an item called just total for total T&M invoices. Okay, so we're going to flow all the costs through one line, it basically is what that means. Okay. So on the specific item, you set that up in the items area. You can also set it up on the fly, as most anything in here, when you're adding in like your contract line items on your contract. Okay. Okay. So let's get out of here. All right. So now we're going to go generate this bill with the one AP bill on it, just to show you how simple this is. So first, I'm going to put some dates in here. I'm going to pick my contract, and I want to come down here and pick my specific contract. And I usually make these the same dates, just FYI. And I'm going to preview this. Okay, so notice that that picked my T&M invoice once I picked my contract. Okay. Okay, so header information, nothing to do really up there too much for what we're talking about. I'm just going to close a few of these. Okay, so we're going to scroll down here, and what we're looking for is the detailed items. So here's timesheet entries, employee expenses, AP. Okay, so you see the $5,000 bill came through, but hey, it didn't mark it up quite yet. So I need to pick my total costs here. Okay, and then there your markup comes in. Okay, so the way to do it with pretty simple or a pretty standardized rate table would be the way that I've shown. So let me go back to the rate tables here. So if you look at your timesheet rate entries, for example, your rates here have more options than you do if you would set up your rates on the actual project itself, which I'll show here in a second. So rate tables are really nice in the fact that you can do lots of things with it. Okay, so you've got all this these available fields. Also, if you look in the layouts, you might even have more in here anyway. So see, I don't even have like if I wanted to do it based on maybe a cost code level, you could come in here and add that. So you can have that available. So all of these different ones too aren't even showing. Okay. Or your customer, like I was bringing up. Maybe it's this rate table is for specific customers. So, so all of those are available. Okay, but now showing you how to do it on the contract level. So, or project level. So here, we go down to just any one really. At the project level, there's a resources and pricing tab that you could come in here and you could basically put in your information, but you only have these options available right here. So it's not as specific and you don't have as many options if you use the project level rate tables, I guess you call it. It's the resources and pricing tab for just one project at a time. Okay. Now you will see some other classes on the billing, T&M, and progress billing on the Bangert user group. But this, I wanted to just show you the rate tables and the markup tables and how it generally integrates in with the billing process. So you will see a class on the billing process, and we'll still touch on, the rate tables and and how to link them at least in those classes. But that will focus a little bit more on the time and material billing process for you. Okay, so watch out for those on Bangert user group. If you have questions, don't forget to join or have some of your team members join the Bangert user group listed here. Reach out to us at help@bangertinc.com. Also, we have a YouTube channel listed here that you could visit as well for more content. So please reach out if you have any questions at all, and look forward to seeing you next time.